what's going on, guys? So, coming at you from home. This is for the Paris video. I was going through it, just doing the editing. I realized that we kind of didn't really do a lot of talking through it. And a lot of explaining as to where we are, what we're doing, what was happening. So, in the majority of this video, you'll see we did a driving tour. I'll try to clean up the audio as much as I can to include our trip leader's voice so you can hear from her in terms of the history behind Paris and all the cool things about it. We did a boat cruise and we kind of explored throughout the day on our, what was it, day 2?
Yeah, day 2, our free day.
Finish it off with a lunch by the Eiffel Tower. So,
And the cabaret.
I don't think I got anything at the cabaret though because we weren't allowed.
Yeah, that's true. We still went to the cabaret.
Yeah. I'm going to try and end this quickly before a cat decides to introduce themselves to the camera, because one of them is currently behind a bit. So, enjoy the video. We'll try to put it through as best we can, and we'll see you for the next one.
So, just in case you couldn't tell, we're in Paris and we finally made it to the Eiffel Tower, and we're going under a bridge, so the acoustics are probably really bad right now. But we are currently doing a river cruise that cost, I think, €10, and that is our view. It's so exciting! Welcome to Paris, everyone! All of them!
Leo, say hello. Hi.
I'm eating chocolate chip cookies on the River Seine as we're about to go for a cruise down the River Seine to see the Eiffel Tower.
By the way, we're in Paris.
Oh yeah. Is that videoing?
Yeah.
Hi. This is Sammy. Okay guys, so around the outside of the square you're going to see statues of women on the top. They represent all of the different regions of France. To your right, that behind there are the Tuileries Gardens and then the Louvre straight in. And then if you look to your left, that's going to be the Champs-Élysées, and then the Arc de Triomphe at the end on the left there. Don't worry, we're going to come back into the square in a minute. I just wanted to point out the different things around the square so that when we come back you can have a good look as well. Now these two fountains in the middle as well. One represents a fountain of the different seas that France are located on, and one is a fountain of the different rivers here in France. The closest one there, just on your left hand side, that is the one from Devil's Wears Prada, where Anne Hathaway is yelling at Meryl Streep on the phone and then throws her phone into the fountain.
Oh my god, yes!
Paris is filled with symmetry, and I'm gonna show you them as we go around, but this is one of them. But this is the Madeleine Church, or named after the story of Mary Magdalene, okay, which is depicted on the front top of this, the gable at the top, the facade. There's Mary bending down on her knees and Jesus in the middle, as she was an important biblical figure. This though was actually not intended to be a church in the beginning, because it doesn't really look like a church, does it?
Nope.
What does it look like? Like a temple? Really? Yeah, it's very Greek, okay, so it's neoclassical in style. And you can see that basically because of the columns, okay, it's very Greek. Now the reason for that is that it was originally built as a monument, or a victory monument, to all of the glory of Napoleon's army, okay? So Napoleon had this built in early 1800s as he was rising to power. And it was meant to be a temple in dedication to all of his soldiers and his extraordinary army that existed. But they never actually gave it this purpose. Instead it was turned into a church, and that's because he later decided that the Arc de Triomphe was going to be his victory monument. So this then took a secondary meaning, and now it's a church. It's one of the most popular places to get married actually in Paris. So there's like a waiting list, I believe, of about 2 years if you want to get married inside this church, or even longer, probably longer by now. And there's 52 columns all around the outside, and those represent the different weeks of the year. And I'll show you something as we come around the back of it as well. On the left, but that looks like Tour de France, something around it. Nice. So guys, can you see the National Assembly now in front of you?
Yeah.
Yes, good. So can you see how similar it looks? Yeah. Oh, and that beautiful golden dome behind it is the Glister Dome. Don't worry, we're going to go over there too. And what's that big thing in the middle, guys? You've seen some of those before.
Obelisk.
It's an obelisk, yes. It is, in fact, an ancient Egyptian obelisk. It's over 3,000 years old, and it was gifted to the city in 1829. It's 23 meters high, and there's a story actually on the side depicting how it was erected into this square. They had a bit of trouble, but they got there in the end. And now, guys, we're going to head back into Place de la Concorde in a second. I'm going to point out what you need to look at. But Place de la Concorde, funnily enough, actually means Square of Peace. But this is really where the worst part happened during the Reign of Terror. They erected a guillotine right in the center of the square. I'll show you as we go past it. There's a plaque on the ground just in front of the obelisk on your left hand side when we get in the middle. And that was where they installed a guillotine, and they killed over 1,000 people in this square alone in a short series of months. And you can see the Eiffel Tower now on your right hand side as we come in. And we're going to go back closer to it. So as we come around here, I want you guys to look down on the ground just in front of the obelisk, and you'll see these people. There's a guy standing in a black t-shirt taking a photo. I think he's standing on it. There's a plaque there, and that's where the guillotine was installed. Can you guys see it coming up on your left? Yep. And then also you can see the story about how they erected the obelisk also into the square. To your right, that's the Champs-Élysées, Arc de Triomphe, okay? There's actually another arc behind the Arc de Triomphe on the right-hand side. So we're going to do a loop now around Place de la Concorde. And when you come back, when you look down both to your left and to your right at the same time, okay? So there's 3 arcs actually all in a row. One is going to be as we come around. In the middle, it's going to be on your right-hand side. That's the Arc de Louvre du Carrousel, okay? That one's just in front of the Louvre. And it lines up perfectly with the Arc de Triomphe, which is going to be on your left. And if you look through the Arc de Triomphe, you're going to see La Défense Arc, okay? That's the modern business district of Paris. So they basically, after they built Montparnasse, it was so ugly, they decided to move all of the sort of CBD and business buildings out of the city, so it didn't ruin the skyline, okay? So we're crawling nice on the hill, going slow. So I want you guys to simultaneously, as you come into the middle, look left and right. There used to be a big like Ferris wheel here on the right that was always in the way, but now you should be able to see. So there's the Louvre. There you can see an arc on your right hand side. Okay, that's the carousel. And then on the left, behind the obelisk, you can see another. So also guys, there's a cinema on the left. The idea of cinemas actually was born in France as well. So it was created by these two brothers called the Lumiere brothers, and they were the first ever to create this sense of theatre and like watching moving images with others and creating that like everyone goes ooh, everyone goes ah, and they created this really short film of a train going really really fast as it was about to hit you, and that was like the first ever sort of live screening of this motion picture. And from then the idea of cinema kind of came about, and then they also had a huge play in this thing called the New Wave cinema as well, which was moving away from Hollywood and perfect things and more everyday looking people, which is pretty cool. So guys, now we're getting close to, what is it? It's the Arc de Triomphe, yes. So this is modeled off the Arc of Titus, okay, which is in the Roman Forum. And on the top, just above the arch, you can see these two angels blowing trumpets. That means that, or symbolizes that it's a triumphal arc. And then this facade on the bottom right-hand side with this woman and her wings holding her sword. Yeah, there's a service going on. Her name is Marseille, okay? She's the embodiment of French freedom and French liberty. And she's also seen on Coldplay's album Viva la Vida. So she's like a symbol of freedom, liberty. And the Arc de Triomphe is a triumphal arc, like I said, and it was created by Napoleon for his troops as a symbol of the glory of his troops. Yes, down underneath it is a tomb of the unknown soldier, so there's a flame that burns. So I assume they're holding a service to do with World War I or World War II, and the fallen soldiers there. Inside the Arc de Triomphe you can see a bunch of names, okay? If the name is underlined, they died in battle, but most of them are generals in Napoleon's army. And the Arc de Triomphe was built over 30 years, from 1806 to 1836, and it was the first stone was planted on Napoleon's birthday, August the 2nd, 1806. He never saw it to completion because he was exiled outside of the city, but today still holds strong and proud to do with Napoleon's glory. Now we're going around this roundabout called Place Étoile, okay? It means star, okay, or plaza of the star, and that's because of these radiating streets that come off of this roundabout. So if you go up the Arc de Triomphe, which I highly recommend, it's only about 12 euros. You can go up to the top, get excellent views of the Eiffel Tower and also of these streets coming out of this square. But make sure you don't run across this roundabout, okay guys? I don't know if you've been paying attention to the road, but the drivers are crazy. So there's stairs that go underneath this road, and you pop out and you can go up the top of the Arc de Triomphe.
Oh my god, I love this song.
And take one last look down Champs-Élysées. There's been a few processions that have gone up and down the Champs-Élysées, because you usually would come and you would march through the Arc de Triomphe if you were triumphing over something. So in 1940 there was the torch parade, okay? The Nazis came down Champs-Élysées with their torches claiming the city of Paris. And then in 1944 there was the Liberation Parade, as they were freed from Nazi occupation here. So twice this street has been really important as well for the freedom of the people here. And also in World War I, someone flew a biplane also through the Arc de Triomphe, which is pretty cool. Nice and close to the old Eiffel Tower. So, who built the Eiffel Tower? Gustav Eiffel, or Eiffel. Now he built it in 1889 for the World Fair. It only took 2 years to build. And I'm going to hit you with some facts, okay? It's 324 meters high, 10,000 tons it weighs. It's made up of 18,000 different parts, and has 2.5 million like rivets holding everything together. Can you see the golden names right up the top there? There's about 50 different names going all the way around the outside, and those are all the architects and engineers actually that helped, that were important people in the helping of constructing this monument. How good does it look up close, guys?
Kendall Jenner just ruins it for me.
Kendall Jenner's in the way, yeah, a lot of advertising on these buses. So as you can see, there's the first level there, the second level, and then the lifts going all the way up the top. It's one of the most visited paid monuments in the entire world, also one of the most recognized monuments along with the Colosseum in the entire world. Every couple of years they repaint it to this Eiffel kind of color, they call it, and actually the color changes from the bottom to the top, gets a little bit lighter as it goes towards the top, and it has 60 tons of paint all over it. Isn't that crazy? It was the tallest building for 41 years until I believe it was one of the buildings in New York, the Chrysler building. When that was built, that was then became taller. And in the evening time, it's covered with 20,000 light bulbs, and you can see it sparkle for about 5 minutes. It just like looks absolutely stunning. The lifts were one of the first ever lifts that went on like an angle going up, so diagonal from the bottom going all the way to the top. And those lifts travel 2.5 times the circumference of the Earth every year. Isn't that crazy? It's also shrinks in the cold, amongst other things. 6 inches it gets shorter by. Just if anyone wanted to know. Fun facts about the Eiffel Tower. Another good story about the Eiffel Tower is that one person tried to sell it to actually make money by selling it for scrap metal. People actually bought it. Of course, nobody ever destroyed it, so it was a bit of a con artist. He went around fooling people, trying to sell the Eiffel Tower for scrap parts. There was a lady in 2001 that got married to the Eiffel Tower, Miss Eiffel.
Married?
Erica. Okay, Erica has what would you call it? She has something called, she's an objectum sexual is the term, and she falls in love with objects. So she decided that the Eiffel Tower was her one true love. She wanted to marry it, and after she married it, she consummated the marriage as well. You can actually watch a documentary about Erica. She's a very interesting lady. She later then, had a bit of a falling out with the Eiffel Tower, so now they're divorced, I know. She then married the Berlin Wall for a little bit there. Yep, the wall really spoke to her, she touched it and that was it. And then unfortunately that didn't quite work out, so she doesn't seem to be very good in relationships. She's now divorced to the Berlin Wall and she's married to a crane. So she's now married to a crane. Yeah, she's a very interesting lady. Yeah. So it's split into 2 separate buildings. The one on the right you can see above the door, it says artillery, and the building down soon we're going to see on our right is cavalry. Okay, so war by like horseback or war with like guns basically. So this building has been an important building and it was funded by Louis XV after he realized, oh, maybe we should train our soldiers and maybe they then would start winning. So it's popped up in 1750, funded by Louis XV, and has been and still is functioning a functioning school for the military. And you can still see, if you look up to the left, Champ de Mars, okay, still the field of war. Which is also ironic because there is a monument, see this glass monument here on your left? That's a peace monument, so it has peace written in it in 49 different languages, which is quite cool. So a nice area you can walk through tomorrow and walk right up to that monument, which is ironically enough inside the field of war. But the École Militaire was actually a stronghold as well during World War II. So as the Nazis were fleeing the city, the French were trying to get them out. So the Nazis actually hid inside of the École Militaire for a little bit because they didn't think that the French would shoot at their own building, but they did, and you can see lots of holes on the right hand side inside the building. Wow. You can actually see they shot at their own building to try and get the Nazis out. And here you can see up here written cavalry, which is war on horseback, and they still use it today. So the military school, you come here for 2 years, you study not only like practicalities of being in the military, training, physical training, but also you study theory, French history, English lessons, like all sorts of different lessons. So it's quite a prestigious thing to come and do. But yeah, you can't go in there because as we come around the gates here, you're going to see some men with guns. So it's only open, I believe, like once a year, one day a year, where they open it to the public to come visit, because it's still completely functioning as a military school set. Can you see them on the right? There they are. Love a man in uniform, don't we?
Absolutely.
Ryan's like, yes. Oh, there's a woman. Go girl. Yes. Now, a famous person.
So, I don't know if you can see this incredible monument behind us, but we are at the Arc de Triomphe. It's an incredible structure. It's a lot bigger than what you think it is. You can take the stairs up to the top, but we're being lazy and we're not doing that today because we're on a tight schedule and we've got things to do.
And it's hot.
Yeah, it's quite warm. But this is one of the like most notorious roundabouts, I guess, in the world, but probably more so in Europe. The rumor is that there's a car accident every 14 minutes. I think Mythbusters dispelled that theory, but we're gonna run with it anyway because it's literally just mayhem. There's no lines, but there's like 8 lines of traffic that are all converging from 5 or 6 different streets, and it's like this central point, and it's just...
So we have gone up to the observation tower. Tegan's just taken like 100 photos at once. And yeah, we're just at the observation tower on top of Paris. Well, second highest building in Paris, next to the Eiffel Tower by about, I think, like 20 meters or so. It's pretty nice up here.
Okay, so we have been basically just trapezing everywhere around Paris. We have gone and seen the Notre Dame. We are currently sitting outside the Louvre, just in case you couldn't tell from the glass pyramid behind me. We're not going into the Louvre today because we did do that last time we were here, and neither Rick or I are really into art, so if you are, definitely go check it out. If you're not, maybe just come see the cool fountains and the glass pyramid and the like pretty building that's surrounding it. So from here we are going to go check out one of the main squares of Paris. It's where Marie Antoinette and, which one was she married to? Louis? One of the Louis. Louis 16? No idea, one of the Louis. It's where they got beheaded. So we're gonna go check that out. And then we've got dinner under the Eiffel Tower with our tour group. So it is currently 5:30. We've basically been out of the house since about 10:30. Out of the hostel, out of the house, same thing. Lots and lots of walking. Rick is exhausted, which is why you just got me this time. But yeah, we're gonna sit here for a bit, enjoy the fresh breeze, and then head to the plaza, and then back to the Eiffel Tower.
So true. My phone's like on 5%, bro.
This entire thing just for the two of us. We couldn't even finish it.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
But there was like camembert, brie. We tried some blue cheese. It was really nice.
Yum.
Alright, ready?
No! Help!
Come on, you two.
Cheers. And I'm like, your telephone. She was like, oh. Oh, Naya.
bad at all.
I have that all on film, by the way.
Yeah, and she doesn't like mushrooms.
Little red button. You got this. Still good. Just push the little red button again.
Happy birthday, dear Jess. Happy birthday to you.
Light it up.
Hip hip. Hooray!